Good day, virtual learners. Welcome back to another session of English 8 live streaming lesson. I hope that everyone is safe and doing great. Stay at home as much as possible, drink plenty of water, and don't forget your vitamins. Because of this pandemic, there has been a significant change happen in our lives. In general, the new normal has affected the system, including education. Unlike before, we have the traditional classroom setting where we can see our teachers and classmates physically. In response to this change, we conducted the distance learning, where you can only see each other virtually to avoid the spreading of the virus. Here in Valenzuela, with the full support of our city government, led by Mayor Rex Gatchalian, education is still possible, easy, and accessible. Again, no student in Valenzuela will be left behind. Let's help and support one another with the hashtag. No matter what the situation is, education must continue. Before going any further, let us recall our learning principles. Listen, note, and learn. Listen. Listen attentively and pay attention throughout the discussion. Note. Note the important details. At the same time, you may take note of your questions during the discussion, and you will be given enough time to type it in the comment section for the Q&A part. Last, learn. Learn something new, and together, we learn as one. Always remember, listen, note, and learn. Now, kindly type your name, grade and section, as well as the name of your school in the comment section for your attendance. Are you done, learners? Okay, let's now proceed. In this session, you are expected to enhance your knowledge and improve your vocabulary skills by noting context clues. Are you excited? Alright, I am now very excited and thrilled to launch you into another fun-filled learning experience. Now, for the most essential learning competency covered in our lesson is to determine the meaning of words by noting context clues. And for our objectives, first, determine the meaning of words and expressions that reflect the local culture by noting context clues. Second, use appropriate strategies in unlocking the meaning of unfamiliar words and idiomatic expressions. Some of the mentioned learning competencies will be achieved in your follow-up discussion together with your subject teacher. For this lesson, we will use the strategic, localized, and interactive instructional material about context clues prepared by Ma'am Lenilyn A. Robles of My Son National High School. In our previous session, we talked about the 5 common types of context clues and how we can use them in identifying unfamiliar words in the text that we are reading. Also, there were some students who were asking if there are other ways on how to identify an unfamiliar word. Now, can you give us one? Correct! Aside from context clues, we can also use our friendly reference Google, dictionary, and thesaurus. Before we proceed, let's have a look back at our previous lesson, the 5 types of context clues. Again, what is a context clue? Very well. Context clues are bits of information or clues from the text that, when combined with your prior knowledge or what you already know, allows you to decide the meaning of unknown words in the story or an article that you are reading. Learning new words is an exciting challenge, right, grade 8? If you are not sure what a word means, context clues can be a big help for you to make a guess or to get an idea about the possible meaning of the unfamiliar word that you encounter. You can use the information in the rest of the paragraph to help you figure out what the word means. In regard to our previous discussion, what is the acronym that we use to easily remember the 5 common types of context clues? That's right, it's IDEAS, which stands for Exactly. IDEAS stands for inference, definition, example, antonym, and synonym. It clearly indicates that you paid close attention. Today, we are going to discuss Lesson 3, which will focus more on the other types of context clues that you can look for when trying to figure out the meaning of an unfamiliar word. In addition to the 5 types of context clues, which was discussed last time, we also have cause and effect and analogy. Let's start with the cause and effect. The unfamiliar word might be the cause of something or might be the result of a cause. You can also take note of signal words like because and since for the cause, and for the effect, we have consequently, therefore, and as a result. Let's have an example. Since only a few follow the wearing of face mask, it was made mandatory by the government. The unfamiliar word is mandatory. We can say that the sentence, since only a few follow the wearing of face mask, is the cause, and as the result or effect, the government made it mandatory. With that, mandatory can mean required by a law or rule. So, if it is already required by the law, what should the people do then? Correct! Everybody must wear face mask, not only a few people. Another example is, his lack of sagacity caused him to make one stupid decision after another. The word sagacity may be unfamiliar to many readers. If you are lack of or if you don't have sagacity, it causes one to make stupid decision. So, you can infer that sagacity means understanding. You can also put it in this way. His lack of sagacity or understanding caused him to make one stupid decision after another. I hope that you are still with me. Now, let's have analogy. In analogy, you can sometimes puzzle out a new word by determining how it is related to other words. At the same time, you can use your understanding in synonyms and antonyms here. In synonym, the denotative similar meaning of a word is given in the sentence, and in antonym, the denotative opposite meaning of a word is given. Likewise, analogy gives us an opposite and similar connotative meaning of the unfamiliar word. To differentiate denotative from connotative, denotative is an exact meaning from a dictionary, while connotative is an associative or secondary meaning of a word in addition to its literal meaning. To further understand, let's have some examples. Martha really likes her cozy rubber shoes. Its soft cotton feel made it really good to wear. In this example, our unfamiliar word is cozy. Take note of the phrase soft cotton feel, in which cozy rubber shoes is compared. Therefore, we can make a guess that the meaning of cozy is comfortable. For the last example, let's have this sentence. Vulnerable people can be like fragile glass in need of care and attention. The unfamiliar word vulnerable is being related to the word fragile glass, where it needs care and attention. In relation to these words, we can say that the meaning of vulnerable is capable of being physically or emotionally wounded or being sensitive. To generalize context clues, these are the hints that help you define an unfamiliar word. They are hugely important because it leads us to academic success and to be a proficient reader. At the same time, there are some steps that you can use when looking for context clues. Step 1. Identify the word. Ask yourself, which word or words are unfamiliar? Step number 2. Use context. You can often determine a word's meaning from the surrounding words or context. Look for more familiar words, phrases, or sentences surrounding a new or unfamiliar word. Context simply means circumstances forming a background of an event, idea, or statement in such a way as to enable readers to understand the narrative or a literary piece. Step number 3, look for restatement clues. In a restatement clue, the writer says the same thing in a different way. Signal words for restatement clues include "this means," "that is," in other words. Punctuation marks that signal a restatement include commas and dashes. Now let's have step number 4. Look for definition clues. The context gives to words meaning. Signal words for definition clues include is, are, defined as, and meaning. Punctuation marks include commas, dashes, parentheses, and colons. For step number 5, define the word. Using the clues and a dictionary if necessary, write the word and its definition in a special notebook. Include a new sentence using the new word. Once again, context clues are bits of information within a text that can help you figure out what unknown words imply. This is because you learn most of your vocabulary through reading. It's critical that you understand context clues. You can make rational conclusions about a difficult word meaning by being more aware of specific words and phrases around it. Now to check your understanding, I prepared a context clue challenge. I will show you sentences, and your task is to choose the letter that contains the correct meaning of the unfamiliar word. At the same time, identify what type of clue is used here. For your answers, kindly type it in the comment section, and you will be given 10 seconds to think of your answer. For item number 1, the sentence is, the intrepid warrior led the attack on the well-guarded fortress. As a result, their opponent got scared. The choices are A. Coward, B. Fearless, C. Sick, and letter D. Weak. Your 10 seconds starts now. Now for number 2. Thunderstorms always make Daphne feel melancholy for some reason. Although some people love the sound and sight of rain. Sunshine and clear skies were what made her happy. Choices: A. Grateful, B. Joyful, C. Peaceful, and letter D. Sad. Now let's have number 3. Because we lingered too long at the restaurant, we missed the beginning of the movie. Letter A. Stayed. Letter B. Stared. Letter C. Disappeared. And letter D. Stood. Time's up. Now, let's check your answers. As we can see in number 1, some answered letter B, and you got it right. How did you come up with your answer? Okay, it is because of the context clues given in the sentence. And the type of context clue used here is cause and effect. The sentence, "The intrepid warrior led an attack on the well-guarded fortress," is our cause. For the effect, their opponent got scared. One tip on how to easily know the answer in this kind of question is through substitution. The fearless warrior led the attack on the well-guarded fortress. As a result, their opponent got scared. For item number 2, the unfamiliar word is melancholy. Let's see who among you got the correct answer. Now, the correct meaning for melancholy is letter D, sad. And for the type of context clue is analogy. Our clue here is the phrase sunshine and clear sky were what made her happy, which is opposite of what she feels when there is a thunderstorm. So melancholy means sad or depressed as contrast of the feeling happy. Last number 3. The answer is A, stayed. And for the type of context clue, we have cause and effect. Because they lingered or stayed too long in the restaurant, they missed the beginning of the movie. Kindly type your scores in the comment section so that I will know how much you understand our lesson. I am very happy to see your scores and I am also proud of you. Thank you for participating. And that's where our discussion ends. We hope that you have learned something new today. Before we proceed to our Q&A part, we will give you 60 seconds to think of your questions and type it in the comment section. Your timer starts now. These are some of the questions that the moderator gathered from the comment section. First question, how can we distinguish the differences among analogy, synonym, and antonym? This question is from Bagbagi National High School. Your question really makes sense because this really causes confusion. For you not to be confused with these three, let us clarify that In analogy, you may use your understanding in synonym and antonym, but connotative or non-literal meaning. On the other hand, in synonym type of context clues, it gives us similar word and antonym gives us the opposite word. And these two are both denotative in meaning. Let's proceed to question number 2 from Kanumay West National High School. What is the difference between denotative and connotative? Thank you for asking. Actually, this question can be a follow-up answer in the first question. In denotative, this gives us the meaning that derives from the dictionary. On the contrary, connotative gives us an associative or secondary meaning of a word in addition to its primary meaning. For example, let's have the word pesticide. The denotative meaning of this word is a substance used for killing insects or other organisms harmful to cultivated plants or to animals. This meaning is derived from a dictionary. While the connotative meaning of this word pesticide is helpful, safe for humans, and good. Let us now have another one from Citero Francisco Memorial National High School. He is asking for another example of connotative and denotative meaning. For example, with that, let's have another example. The denotative meaning of the word crown is a circular ornamental headdress worn by a king or queen, and its connotative meaning is power or authority. Going to another question from Kanumay East National High School. Her question is, can we apply context clues in other subject areas? Thank you for this good question. The answer is yes, because for example, in science, you can easily solve a problem if you will understand it, and context clues can be a big help in unlocking terminologies to understand it. Moving on to our last question, and this is from Polo National High School. The question is, are there any context clues aside from what you have discussed? Thank you for your question. Yes, there are still a lot of types of context clues, like a positive. In here, the meaning is set off by commas. Another is word parts. For example, I think you're overreacting to this problem. The unfamiliar word is overreacting. From the word overreacting, there is a part here that can give us an idea of its possible meaning, and that is over, meaning there is something being exaggerated here. With that, we can now say that the meaning of overreacting is to respond to something with too strong emotion or with unnecessary or excessive action. Thank you so much, Grade 8. Now, for those questions that were not answered, you may ask it in your follow-up discussion with your subject teacher. For sure, they are very much willing to answer your questions. Before we officially end this session, I would like to introduce to you some of the activities in your learning modules. This is for you to accomplish and to enrich the skills that you have learned from our discussion today. Here are your activities. Thank you for watching English 8 live streaming lesson. And to our grade 8 students, have a nice day. See you in our next session. Goodbye, stay safe, and God bless.